Hey guys, Ben here. Welcome to the first episode of the Vape Table. Today we'll be reviewing the Silverplay Nano Project SubOhm edition, available at VaporDNA.com. Let's have a look at it, why don't we? Oh man, welcome back guys. Like I said, today we'll be taking a look at the Silverplay Nano Project SubOhm edition. And when VaporDNA sent me this device originally for review, I was kind of skeptical. I've always been a dripper or a tank person, and that was it. You know, I really didn't mess with RTAs all that much because it was always hard to build on. You know, they wouldn't have ample wicking channels, and if you didn't wick them right in the first place, they would leak everywhere. And I have to say, after I received this device and found a build that worked for me and for my style of vaping, I was very pleasantly surprised with the flavor and the vapor production that this little guy puts out. It's got 3mm airflow holes under each coil. This is a dual coil only RTA. There is no single coil option. And also auxiliary 1mm airflow holes coming from each negative post. And I'll show you all this when we dive up close. And gives you more than enough wick channel. I mean, this RTA can definitely keep up with some of the lower ohm builds that some of us like to do. And I was very pleasantly surprised at the flavor and vapor production that I got out of it. Actually, let's have a vape on it. Like I said, flavor is incredible. Vapor production is top notch. I'm running this on my SubOhm version 2.1, and I think I have it turned up to maybe 35%. So I mean, super low. I'm running a 0.32 ohm build, and I'll show you everything. I'm not going to rebuild it on camera because I mean it's a very basic build in there anyway. I will tell you what it is when we dive up close. I will re-wick it though, because I found that if you put too much wick in it, it kind of suffocates the coils, and they're not able to wick enough juice to put up with some of the chain vaping. So I will re-wick it and show you a technique that I found that works really well with this RTA. Like I said, great airflow, great flavor, great vapor production. The only subjective con that I had found for this device is the fact that the airflow is non-adjustable. But for those people that like the more open draw, like your mutation X's and your troll faces, things of that airflow design, you're gonna feel right at home with this one. This is a very open draw without killing flavor. It's got a 3.2 mil capacity, which is a half a mil less than your Kanger sub tank. And when we dive up close, I'll show you the size comparison between the two because it's incredible. You know, this is a very compact device, especially with that generous of a build deck. It's got a 4-post deck. I forgot to mention, it's got a 4-post deck, 1.3mm post holes, so 24 gauge fit easy. You could probably do 22 gauge without any problems. I did find that Kanthal works the best for this device, as nichrome gets a little too hot too fast, and in that small of a chamber, it's going to be a very warm vape very fast. But without taking too much time, you know, I know y'all came to see this product, so let's have a little vape and we will dive up close. Alright, so here we go guys. We are up close and personal with the Silverplay Nano. And when you receive this, this is what the packaging will look like. Got some nice foil logos and everything. Here you have the Project SubOhm logo, Ultimate RTA. And when you open it, you've got your standard directions, which I don't think we need those. We'll put that to the side. And here you go. Here's the device. You'll get it with the glass cap and stainless top. See if we can zoom in. You'll see the nice Project SubOhm logo. You'll also see Silverplay at the top of on the cap. Also, one thing I thought was pretty neat is this rifle drip tip. I don't know if it'll actually show up in a close-up, but if you look down in there, it's rifled. And supposedly that's supposed to make some kind of turbulent cyclonic effect with the vapor, but regardless, it's nice and short. You know, it's not a big, long, gangly drip tip. Gold-plated copper 510 pin that is adjustable. This is very flat, so I would not recommend it for hybrid mech mods. I haven't used it on any mechanical mods yet, but I don't plan on it. I only use this on a regulated device. You'll also see the Phillips head bottom fill hole. Also, you will notice that the airflow channels are really large, but they're also not covered. So for the people that use Kennedy's and things like that with bottom airflow, you will get some condensation on your device, but it's minimal at most. So let's go ahead and take this thing apart and I'll show you the insides. Your top just unscrews, take out your drip tip. And then you have your Pyrex tank. The packaging also comes with another one. Spare glass, spare O-rings, some spare deck screws. It also comes with a polycarbonate bell cap, and I'll go ahead and put that on there. I don't ever use it. I think it looks better with the tank and stainless top cap. You will notice you can't see the Project SubOhm engraving. When you add juice to this, it actually lightens up a lot, so you can't actually see the Project SubOhm engraving on it with that bell cap. We'll take that, and that's all that comes in the packaging, so we'll just put that to the side. But you unscrew your chimney, and like I said, I have a build in this already, and I'm not going to rebuild it. I will tell you about the build, but I will re-wick it just so you can see how I wicked it. And I haven't cleaned these coils or anything, but it is actually, we'll go ahead and fire it now in case I need to adjust them or anything. But it's just your basic 9-wrap 26 gauge Canthal. It ohms out to about 0.32 or so, and that seems to be the best build that I've found so far. And we're glowing good and even, glowing from the inside out. You know, just what we want. So we'll go ahead and leave that like it is. Let that cool down for a minute. I'll be using Ninja Wick from Mr. E-Liquid. Some Japanese organic pads actually perform pretty well. Is that gonna be too much? Yeah, I'll just use that for us. Well, that'll work. We'll make it work. Yeah, we'll cut another piece. I'm actually gonna try to, instead of having to split the wick in half, I'm going to try using a full strip this time, just to give me a little extra wicking material. But, you know, you don't want to cut it too thick, because like I said, if you put too much wicking in there, it'll really suffocate the coils, and you won't get a really good consistent juice flow, and it'll really get dry really quick. We'll go ahead and cut this in half. And I'm not going to give you dimensions on how long this wick is or how wide. I mean, by this point you should know what you're working with. I'll go ahead and twist the ends up on here. Now we'll try to get this on camera. I don't know how well my autofocus is going to go. Actually, let's go in a little closer. There we go. All right. So I wick it like any other RDA. You know, just pull your cotton through. You know, you want a little resistance, but not a whole lot. You know, you don't want it too tight because it won't be able to wick efficiently, but you don't want it too loose because then you won't get enough juice in it. Go ahead and stick this through. go. And usually I'll cut the tails pretty short. I don't like vaping cotton that I've gotten oil from my fingers on, so I usually always cut off the part that I've rolled and wicked or pushed through. But you get the idea. Today I'll be juicing this up with some Solstice from Space Jam. Really good cherry limeade flavor, if anybody's interested. Space Jam really did a great job with this juice. Make sure that you can see this. And this is just the easiest way to do it, I've found, because it makes the juice a little more, or the wicking a little more pliable and easier to work with when you put a little juice on it first. It makes it lay down a little bit better. Go ahead and get that good and soaked up. And like I said, this, you can try other things. I actually saw this wicking technique on Reddit. I can't remember who from, or I'd shout them out right now. But I had run wick all the way down the wick channel into the little 90-degree turn that it makes, and it just wouldn't. It felt like it was struggling to keep up with me vaping. So I tried using this way, and it's actually performed really well. So what you'll do is you'll just kind of judge it. You know, you'll push it down into that channel, make sure that you've got enough wick to actually stay in there. And then what I'll do is I'll look, and I'll take this out, make sure I get this on camera, and I will just snip it off. Now I always like to try to cut it at an angle. That way that juice has got room to come in these channels. So you're actually only wicking to the top of the channel. But let's see if this will actually show up. As you can see, a lot of that channel is still open. So it won't flood the deck, but it'll give you more than enough juice to those wicks. And you couldn't see that, but that's all right. And then you just go around and do the same thing. There's also, I forgot to mention earlier when we were up close, there's also a very good build tutorial on the Silverplay Nano that VaporDNA did. So I will make sure to put a link in the description to that video as well. I think they do a 7-wrap 24 gauge. Alright, that should be about it. Let's get a little bit of extra juice on there just to make sure it's good and saturated. And we'll do a test fire. And then I'll go ahead and show y'all how to fill it and everything like that. Like I said, running it on the SubOhm version 2.1. Oh yeah. Just a little after note. I have tried this with 60-40 and 70-30 juice, and both of them seem to perform perfectly. I had no problems. This Space Jam Solstice is actually a 70-30 juice, and I had no problems with it wicking or anything like that. I did notice, however, that the bottom fill, I would notice a drop or two of juice after a lot of use, you know, like usually maybe like once a day. And then you just screw your chimney on after you got it all good and wicked, and usually I'll test fire it one more time. And we got fire. So go ahead and put your glass on, and then just put your cap on. And this glass is only pressure fit, so make sure you get it on there tight, but you don't really have to torque it down really hard, because that just makes it a pain to get off later. Just a little bit more than hand tight is fine. And then just unscrew the device. There we go. Alright. Hopefully that stayed in focus the whole time. I haven't really been watching, I've just been kind of doing my thing. Let me grab my screwdriver, and I will show you how to fill it. All you do for that is obviously unscrew that fill screw that I showed you earlier. Make sure you don't lose it, because it is small, and it is a Phillips head, as are the deck screws. I don't know if I showed you that or not. And then the way that I've started filling it that seems to work the best is I'll take a full dropper and I'll place it in the fill port, but I'll kind of push it over towards the 510, and you'll see a little juice kind of collecting around this area around the fill port. It's fine. I just put the dropper back in there and suck it out with the air. But like I said, when you tilt it towards that 510, it kind of pushes it towards the tank itself and not towards the deck. It might drip a couple of drops out of the drip tip, but it's no big deal. It'll come off. And like I said earlier, the capacity on this thing is 3.2 mils, which is great. See, we got a little drop coming out. But that's alright, we'll get all that cleaned up. Grab a paper towel right here. Then when you're done, just grab your fill screw and drop it back down in there. It would have been nice if they would have put an O-ring in that fill port, but like I said, with 70/30 I had zero problems. With 60/40 I would have, you know, maybe a drop or two on my device after a day of using it, but it wasn't, you know, it's not going to leak on you. At least not in any substantial amount anyway. And there you have it. She is juiced up and ready to go. And I feel perfectly fine. Go ahead and backing out and vaping. And there you have it, guys. An up close and personal look at the Silverplay Nano Project SubOhm Edition from VaporDNA.com. I'll put a link down in the description of where you can get this at. It retails for $39.95, which I believe is a very good price point for the performance you get out of this device. If I would have had to buy this device, if I was looking for an RTA, I'd be very, very happy with my choice. I believe it's a great performer at a very good price point. Like I said, the only subjective con I had about this device was the lack of airflow control. But if you're like me and enjoy a open vape, this is going to be right up your alley. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Twisted. If you like the content you see here, please feel free to like it, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it is at KingBusa07. I'll also put that in the description as well. I post a lot of content on there. And that's about it. That's about all I have for you guys. So, with that being said, stay cloudy, and we will be back.